The alarm screens lit up red across the command center of the massive Zentari warship. Admiral Krell stood frozen, staring at the display in front of him. His blue skin turned pale as he read the numbers again and again. This had to be wrong. The sensors must be broken. Check it again. He ordered his crew member Vesh, who was operating the scanning equipment. Vesh's hands shook as he typed commands into his computer. Sir, I have checked it 7 times already. The readings are the same every time. There is a ship out there near the edge of this system, but something is very wrong with it. Krell moved closer to look at the hologram showing the strange vessel. The ship was not very big compared to Zentari battlecruisers. Maybe only 800 meters long. Its shape was rough and angular with sharp edges everywhere. It looked nothing like the smooth, beautiful ships that advanced species built. Yet something about this ugly ship made Krell feel afraid. What do you mean something is wrong? Krell asked. Vesh pulled up more data on his screen. Sir, the power coming from that ship is impossible. Our biggest warships create about 40 petawatts of energy when fighting. This ship is showing over 200 petawatts, and it seems to be just sitting there doing nothing special. The Admiral felt his heart beat faster. That cannot be real. No ship that small could have a power source that strong. You would need fuel the size of a moon to make that much energy. I know, sir. That is why I kept checking. But there is more. Vesh brought up another screen. The outside of the ship is made from metal we have never seen before. It is heavier and stronger than our best armor, but somehow lighter at the same time. And sir, the ship is sending out a signal. It says who they are. Tell me, Krell demanded. Vesh spoke quietly. It calls itself the UES Vanguard. The letters UES mean United Earthship. It says it comes from a species called humans, from a planet called Earth. Every person in the command center stopped working and turned to look at the display. Earth. That name existed in their oldest history files. Ancient warnings about a dangerous world. Stories told to young Zentari about a planet full of crazy, violent creatures. But those were just old stories. Nobody really believed them. Commander Sila, who controlled the weapons, spoke up. Sir, Earth is just a myth. A scary story. No species from that primitive system could ever build spaceships, especially not something like this. Krell stared at the rotating image of the human ship. Its design was brutal and simple. Zentari ships were built to look impressive and beautiful. This ship looked like it was built only to fight and kill. Open a communication channel to them, Krell ordered. Vesh worked his controls. Channel open, sir. Krell straightened his uniform and spoke with authority. Unknown vessel, this is Admiral Krell of the Zentari Imperial Fleet. You have entered our space without permission. Tell us who you are and why you are here, or we will destroy you. For several long seconds, there was only silence and static. Then a voice came through the speakers. It spoke perfect galactic language, but with a strange accent that made the words sound almost musical. Admiral Krell, this is Captain Danny Wright of the United Earthship Vanguard. We come in peace to explore and meet new species. We did not know this system belonged to anyone. We are sorry for entering without permission. We would like to talk and establish friendly relations. The voice was calm and showed no fear at all. Krell felt a cold sensation run through his body. Captain Wright, our records say your species should not be able to travel between stars. Explain how you built this ship. There was a pause. Krell could almost hear the smile in the human's voice when he answered. Admiral, I could ask you the same question about how you know anything about us. But maybe we should talk about these things face to face. We are happy to receive visitors on our ship, or we can send people to yours. Whatever you prefer. Commander Sila leaned close to Krell and whispered, Sir, this is obviously a trick. We should destroy them now before they can attack us, but Krell was not stupid. Something about this situation made his warrior instincts scream danger. A species that could generate that much power in such a small ship was not something to attack without thinking carefully. It did not matter what the old records said. Captain Wright, we will send a small ship with diplomats to meet you on your vessel. Any hostile action from you will result in your complete destruction. Do you understand? Yes, Admiral. That is perfectly fine with us. We will have people waiting in our landing bay. Sending you the coordinates now. Vanguard out, the communication ended. Krell turned to his officers. Prepare a team. I want scientists, security guards, and diplomats. I want to know everything about these humans and how they built that ship. As his officers hurried to follow orders, Krell looked again at the image of the UES Vanguard. Something deep in his genetic memory stirred, an ancient fear passed down through thousands of years. The humans had finally come to the stars. Everything was about to change. The Zentari Empire had ruled the galaxy for 3,000 years. They had the best technology, the strongest fleets, and nobody could defeat them. They were proud and confident. But now, staring at this strange human ship with its impossible power and brutal design, Krell felt something he had not felt in his entire military career. He felt afraid. The ship just sat there in space, quiet and dark. Its weapons were not active. It was not threatening them. But somehow that made it worse. The humans were not afraid of the Zentari fleet. They were not running away or begging for mercy. They were just waiting, calm and patient like a predator that knows it is strong enough to win any fight. Krell touched his communication device. "Connect me to the Imperial Council. They need to know about this immediately." While he waited for the connection, he looked at the power readings again. 200 petawatts from a ship that size. The Zentari had been trying to build reactors that powerful for centuries and had always failed. The humans had done it. They had achieved something the Zentari Empire could not. The communication screen lit up, showing the faces of the 12 council members who ruled the Empire. Krell took a deep breath. He was about to tell them that their perfect, peaceful galaxy had just become very complicated. "Council members," he began. "We have a situation. The humans are here." The small Zentari shuttle moved slowly through space toward the human warship. Inside, Ambassador Trell looked at his information pad, reading the few details they had about humans. Beside him, Commander Nix kept checking his weapons over and over. "Put those away," Trell said sharply. "We are here to talk, not to fight." Nix made an angry clicking sound with his mouth. "The Admiral ordered us to defend ourselves if they attack. I am just being ready. And starting a fight on their ship surrounded by their crew seems smart to you?" Before Nix could answer, the pilot called from the front. "Ambassador, we are getting close to their ship. You need to see this." Trell moved to the window and felt his breathing become difficult. Up close, the human ship looked even more frightening than the scans showed. The hull was dark gray and seemed to eat light. It was covered with what looked like gun ports, sensors, and thick armor plates that overlapped like the scales on a dangerous animal. There were no decorations or artistic designs. Every part of the ship looked designed to fight and kill efficiently. "Those are railguns," the pilot said, his voice shaking with fear. "I can see at least 40 of them from here. And those things on the top of the ship look like missile launchers. Hundreds of them." Trell swallowed hard. "Maybe the humans are just being careful." "Careful?" Nix laughed bitterly. "Ambassador, that ship is a flying weapon. This is not an exploration vessel. This is a warship, and a terrifying one." The shuttle entered the landing bay, which was surprisingly large and bright. As they landed, Trell could see 6 humans waiting for them. They wore neat uniforms that were dark blue in color, and they stood perfectly still with military discipline. The shuttle door opened, and Trell led his group down the ramp. The first thing he noticed was the gravity. It was heavy, much heavier than normal galactic standard. He could feel his bones creaking under the extra weight. The humans, however, stood easily as if the crushing pressure did not bother them at all. The human in the center stepped forward. He was tall, almost 2 meters, with dark skin and very short hair. His body looked powerful and strong. His face was calm and friendly, but his eyes were sharp and intelligent in a way that made Trell nervous. "Ambassador Trell, welcome to the Vanguard. I am Captain Danny Wright. This is my executive officer, Commander Lisa Hayes, and my science officer, Lieutenant Kevin Shaw." The captain pointed to the humans beside him. Hayes was a woman with red hair pulled back tightly. Her posture showed military training. Shaw was younger, with brown hair and eyes that seemed to notice everything. Trell bowed his head in the Zentari way of showing respect. "Captain Wright, thank you for allowing us to visit. Your vessel and your presence here have created many questions." Wright smiled, showing his teeth. Trell had to use all his training not to react to this predator gesture. "I am sure you have questions. Let us go to the meeting room. We have prepared food and drinks, though we were not sure what Zentari people can eat." As they walked through the hallways of the ship, Trell's scientific mind took over. He noticed the thick walls, the backup power cables visible through access panels, and the emergency stations every 20 meters. This ship was built to take damage and keep fighting. The crew they passed were all very fit and moved with purpose. None of them stared at the aliens. They simply nodded politely and continued working. It showed discipline and training that matched the best Zentari military units. The meeting room was large and professional. with a big table and screens on the walls. Wright gestured for them to sit, and Trell was grateful to get relief from the heavy gravity. "So," Wright began, settling into his chair easily, "I imagine you want to know how we got here." "That would be an excellent place to start," Trell agreed. "Our records suggest your species only developed basic nuclear technology a few centuries ago. Yet here you are with a vessel that operates on principles we do not fully understand." Wright nodded. "That is fair. The short answer is that we developed fusion power, then matter-antimatter reactors, and recently made big advances in space manipulation technology. The Vanguard runs on a zero-point energy tap, which draws power directly from quantum vacuum fluctuations." The Zentari scientist in their group, Dr. Venn, made a choking sound. "That is impossible. The energy needed to stabilize such a system would be huge. The containment fields alone would need more power than the system could generate." Lieutenant Shaw spoke up. "That was the problem, yes. Until Dr. Patricia Chen at MIT created the harmonic resonance field, which uses the quantum fluctuations themselves to maintain containment. It is a bit like pulling yourself up by your own bootstraps, but it works." Dr. Venn spoke slowly. "You are telling me that humans have mastered zero-point energy extraction? A technology we have been trying to develop for 2,000 years? Shaw shrugged. "We did not know anyone else was working on it. We just knew we needed a better power source if we wanted to reach the stars. Earth's resources are limited and we had to think long-term." Commander Hayes added, "Captain, perhaps we should address the elephant in the room." Wright nodded. "You are right. Ambassador, I will be direct. Your admiral seemed surprised that we exist at all. Your records apparently say something about Earth, and based on your reaction, it is nothing good. We would like to know what those records say." Trell looked at his team. This was a delicate moment. "Very well. I will be equally direct. According to our oldest historical files, Earth is listed as a prohibited world. The record dates back almost 3,000 years to when the Zentari Empire was founded. The reason given is that the planet contains a species deemed too dangerous for contact." "Dangerous how?" Wright asked, his voice carefully neutral. "The records are incomplete, but they suggest that humans are genetically unpredictable, evolutionarily aggressive, and technologically creative in ways that threaten galactic stability. There is a phrase used in the old texts, death world species. It refers to creatures that evolved under such harsh conditions that they develop capabilities far beyond what normal evolution would produce." Wright was quiet for a moment. Then he laughed, a sound that was both warm and slightly scary. "Well, I suppose that is not entirely wrong. Earth is a tough place. We have had 5 major extinction events in our planet's history. We evolved alongside predators like lions, crocodiles, and bears. We survived ice ages, plagues, and our own worst impulses. It made us strong and able to survive. It also made you dangerous," Commander Nix said bluntly. "Captain Wright, what are your intentions in galactic space? Are you here to conquer, to expand, to challenge the existing order?" Wright's friendly expression did not change, but something shifted in his eyes. "Commander, we are here to explore, to learn, and to make friends if possible. But I will not lie to you. Earth has learned hard lessons about the importance of strength. We have been through wars, terrible ones. We know what happens when you are not ready to defend yourself. So yes, the Vanguard is a warship, and there are more being built. We hope we never have to use them in anger, but we will be ready if we do." The Zentari group sat in shocked silence. Wright continued, "But here's the thing you need to understand. Humans do not want to fight. We have seen enough death on our own world. What we want is a place in the galaxy, trade, cultural exchange, and scientific cooperation. We want to be neighbors, not enemies." Trell felt the weight of history pressing down on him. "Captain, I believe you. But you must understand, the Zentari Empire has maintained peace in the galaxy for thousands of years. Your arrival changes everything. There will be those who see you as a threat that must be eliminated." Wright nodded slowly. "Then I guess we will have to convince them otherwise. One conversation at a time." The shuttle returned to the Eternal Dominion with the diplomatic team in a state of panic. Ambassador Trell insisted on speaking with Admiral Krell immediately, even before writing an official report. In the Admiral's private room, the ambassador explained everything they had learned. The zero-point energy, the casual mention of more warships being built, and the obvious physical advantages humans had in their high-gravity environment. "The most concerning part," Trell said, "is their attitude. They are not arrogant exactly, but they have the confidence of a species that has faced extinction and survived. They are not afraid of us, Admiral. Not at all. Krell moved to the window, looking at the distant shape of the human vessel. You said they want peace. I believe Captain Wright was sincere, but I also believe that if we attack them, we will regret it. That ship is built for combat in ways our vessels are not. Every system has backup. Every hallway has emergency equipment. Their crew trains constantly. Commander Nix thinks that in close combat, one human could probably defeat 3 Zentari warriors because of their strength and aggression. The Admiral was quiet for a long moment. Then he turned on his communication device. I need to speak with the Imperial Council, immediately. Within an hour, holographic images of the 12 council members appeared in the Admiral's meeting room. They ranged from ancient Counselor Kren, who had served for 200 years, to young Counselor Tresh, who wanted aggressive expansion. Krell presented the situation as clearly as he could, holding nothing back. When he finished, the council chamber erupted in arguments. This is clearly a threat that must be eliminated, Tresh declared. We cannot allow a Death World species to establish itself in our galaxy. History has taught us what happens when such creatures are left unchecked. History has also taught us the cost of unnecessary wars. Counselor Kren replied calmly. We know nothing of their true capabilities. For all we know, that single vessel could match our entire fleet. Impossible, another counselor said. No ship that size could generate 200 petawatts of power? Kren interrupted. Could master zero-point energy when we have not? Could build what our military experts are calling the most advanced warship they have ever analyzed? We have already established that what we thought was impossible is clearly possible for humans. Admiral Krell spoke up. Counselors, I have a suggestion. Allow me to invite Captain Wright to our capital planet. Let him speak to the Council directly. We can learn more about human intentions, capabilities, and weaknesses. And if we decide they are truly a threat, we can take action when we have more information. Tresh's mouth clicked in anger. You want to bring them to the heart of our empire? That is madness. Is it? Krell asked. One small ship surrounded by our home fleet? If we are going to act, better to do it when we have overwhelming advantage. But I suspect we will learn that cooperation serves us better than conflict. The council argued for another hour before finally reaching a decision. The vote was close, 8-4, but the decision was made. The humans would be invited to the capital for formal talks. Krell returned to his command center and opened a channel to the Vanguard. Captain Wright, the Imperial Council has agreed to formal diplomatic talks. We invite you to travel to our capital world, Zentar Prime, to speak to the Council directly. There was a brief pause. Then Wright's voice came through. Admiral, we accept your invitation. When would you like us to leave? We will provide escort ships. For security purposes, you understand? Of course. There was amusement in Wright's tone. One question, though. Will our ship be allowed in orbit, or will you require us to use one of your vessels? Krell had expected this question. Your vessel will be permitted in high orbit, under the watch of our defense platforms. Is this acceptable? Very acceptable, Admiral. We will be ready to leave whenever your escort arrives. As the channel closed, Commander Sila approached Krell. Sir, are we really doing this? Bringing them to our homeworld? We are, because I want them where we can watch them, and because I suspect that trying to destroy them out here far from support would be a fatal mistake. You think one ship could defeat the Eternal Dominion? Krell looked at the readings from the human vessel. I think I do not want to find out. The journey to Zentar Prime took 3 days at normal fleet speeds. The humans matched pace easily, their vessel showing no signs of strain. In fact, engineers reported that the Vanguard appeared to be operating at very low power for the entire journey. Captain Wright accepted an invitation to eat dinner on the Eternal Dominion on the second night. He brought Commander Hayes and Lieutenant Shaw with him, and the dinner was both interesting and disturbing. Wright shared stories of Earth's history, speaking casually of wars that killed millions, disasters that reshaped continents, and scientific advances that came at terrible costs. He spoke of nuclear weapons, biological warfare, and conflicts so devastating that entire cities had been reduced to ash. We nearly destroyed ourselves several times, Wright said, tasting the Zentari wine. In fact, there was a period in our 21st century where extinction seemed likely. Climate change, nuclear weapons everywhere, diseases running out of resources. We were on the edge, and what saved you? Trell asked. Wright smiled. We did. Humans have this stubborn refusal to give up. When things got bad enough, we came together. We made the hard choices. We invested in science, in cooperation, in building a future worth living in. It took 100 years of hard work, but we pulled back from disaster. And built warships, Commander Sila noted. And built warships, Wright agreed. Because the one lesson we learned from our history is that peace is only possible when you are strong enough to defend it. The Vanguard and her sister ships are not weapons of conquest. They are insurance policies. As long as we are strong, no one will dare try to destroy us. The words hung in the air like a challenge. Krell found himself reassessing the human captain. This was not a naive explorer or a peaceful scientist. This was a warrior from a species that had survived horrors the Zentari could barely imagine. On the third day, they came out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Zentar system. The site was magnificent. A binary star system with 3 habitable worlds, space stations the size of moons, and a fleet of warships that numbered in the thousands. Impressive, Wright said from his ship. Admiral, your civilization is remarkable. And now you see why we have maintained peace for so long, Krell replied. The Zentari Empire is the greatest military power in the galaxy. I do not doubt it, Wright said. There was no fear in his voice, just professional respect. We look forward to learning from you. As the Vanguard moved into high orbit surrounded by defense platforms and patrol ships, Krell felt a chill run through him. The human captain had seen the might of the Zentari Empire and showed no concern at all. Either Wright was a fool, or the humans had capabilities they had not yet revealed. Krell suspected it was the latter. He looked at the dark shape of the Vanguard floating among the bright Zentari ships. It looked like a shark swimming among colorful fish, beautiful and deadly. Tomorrow, Captain Wright would stand before the Imperial Council. Whatever happened next would determine the future of both their civilizations. Krell just hoped they would make the right choice. The communication officer approached. Sir, the Council has confirmed the meeting for tomorrow morning. Captain Wright and 2 of his officers will be transported to the Council chamber. Krell nodded. Good. Make sure security is at maximum. But tell them to be respectful. We are not trying to intimidate our guests. Yes, sir. As the officer left, Krell looked one more time at the human ship. Tomorrow would change everything. For better or worse, the galaxy would never be the same. The Imperial Council chamber was a beautiful building, a huge dome made of crystal that showed the stars above. The 12 counselors sat in a semicircle on a high platform. The visitor's position was in the center, designed to make people feel small and unimportant. Captain Danny Wright walked into the chamber with Commander Lisa Hayes and Lieutenant Kevin Shaw beside him. They wore their dress uniforms, dark blue with gold trim, and walked with military precision. None of them showed any sign of being scared by the grandeur around them or the hundreds of Zentari officials and guards watching from the gallery. Counselor Kren, as the eldest, spoke first. Captain Wright of Earth, you stand before the Imperial Council of the Zentari Empire, rulers of this galaxy. We have agreed to hear your request for diplomatic recognition and to address concerns about your species' presence in our space. Wright stood at attention and gave a crisp salute. Honored counselors, I thank you for this opportunity. I come before you not asking for favors, but as the representative of Earth and humanity, seeking to establish peaceful relations between our peoples. Counselor Tresh leaned forward aggressively. You speak of peace, yet you arrive in a warship full of weapons. You claim to be explorers, yet our analysis suggests your vessel is designed purely for combat. How do you explain this? With respect, Counselor, there is no problem here, Wright replied calmly. The Vanguard is indeed a military vessel. Earth has learned that exploration of unknown space requires protection. We did not know what we would find out here. For all we knew, we could have faced hostile forces or dangerous things. Would you send your own people into the unknown without the means to defend themselves? The difference, another counselor said, is that we are an established power. You are newcomers who should be showing proper respect to those who came before. Hayes stepped forward slightly. Counselor, humanity means no disrespect. But we bow to no one. We have earned our place through our own efforts, just as you did. We are willing to be equals and partners, but we will not be subordinates. A murmur ran through the chamber. The boldness of the statement shocked the assembled Zentari. Counselor Tresh's mouth clicked furiously. You dare to claim equality with the Zentari Empire? You who have just barely achieved spaceflight? Lieutenant Shaw spoke up, his voice respectful but firm. Counselor, with respect, we have been traveling in space for nearly 300 years. We have established colonies on 6 worlds in our home system. We have built a fleet of exploration and defense vessels. And yes, we have developed technologies that even you find impressive. We have done all of this on our own, without guidance or help. That gives us the right to stand as equals. Counselor Kren raised a hand for silence. Captain Wright, let us be direct. Your species is listed in our oldest files as a prohibited contact. You are classified as a Death World species, deemed too dangerous for integration into galactic civilization. The Council is divided on whether your emergence into space represents a threat that must be contained or eliminated. Help us understand why we should not act on our ancestors' warnings. The chamber fell silent. This was the moment that would determine humanity's future. Wright took a breath and met the Counselor's eyes. Counselor, I will not deny that humans can be dangerous. We evolved on a world that tried to kill us at every turn. We fought predators, diseases, and each other. Yes, we have fought terrible wars. We have committed horrible acts. We have made mistakes that cost millions of lives, but we have also learned from those mistakes. Wright's voice grew stronger. We have learned the value of cooperation, of diversity, of working together despite our differences. Earth is home to hundreds of cultures, thousands of languages, and billions of people who once saw each other as enemies. We have built a unified global civilization not by conquest but by choice, because we realized that our survival depended on it. He gestured to his officers. Commander Hayes comes from what used to be called America. Lieutenant Shaw's family is from China. 300 years ago, our nations nearly destroyed each other in a war that would have ended human civilization. Today we serve together on the same ship, working toward the same goals. That is the real strength of humanity, our ability to overcome our own worst nature. Counselor Tresh was unmoved. Pretty words, Captain. But words are cheap. What guarantee do we have that humans will not turn their weapons on us once you are strong enough? What stops you from becoming conquerors? Wright's expression hardened. The same thing that should stop you, Counselor. Smart self-interest. Humanity wants to join the galactic community, not destroy it. We want to trade, to learn, to grow. War would set us back centuries and make us enemies with civilizations far older and more experienced than we are. Only a fool would choose that path. And if we refuse your request? Tresh challenged. If we decide you are too dangerous and order you to return to your system and never leave it again? The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Wright's voice became cold and hard. Then you would be making a grave mistake, Counselor. We did not come to the stars to be caged. If you try to contain us, you will fail. If you try to destroy us, you will learn what it means to fight a species that has survived 5 mass extinctions and dozens of world wars. We do not want that fight, but we will not back down from it either. You threaten the Imperial Council? Tresh was on his feet now, his mouth spread in aggression. No, Counselor. I am stating facts. Wright's calm was unshakable. You asked for honesty. There it is. Humans will defend themselves. We have faced extinction before and survived. We will do it again if we must. But it does not have to be that way. Wright turned to address the entire council. Counselors, I am offering you a choice. You can treat us as enemies and spend the next 1,000 years in a cold war or a hot one, watching your borders and wondering when we will strike. Or you can accept us as partners. Let us prove that humans can be trusted. Let us contribute to galactic civilization. Let us show you that a Death World species can be more than just warriors. Counselor Kren studied Wright for a long moment. Captain, you speak boldly. Perhaps too boldly for someone whose species has just one ship in our space. Wright smiled. One ship that you have detected, Counselor. The words hit like a physical blow. Every counselor leaned forward. Explain, Kren demanded. The Vanguard was launched 6 months ago, Wright said calmly. It is our test platform, our proof of concept. But we are not idiots. We did not send one ship out into the unknown without backup. There are 3 more vessels of the Vanguard class in our home system, with more under construction. And if we do not return or send the proper all-clear signal, they will know something went wrong. You are bluffing, Tresh said. You could not possibly have built more ships of such capability. Shaw spoke up. Counselor, Earth has a population of 12 billion. We have space construction facilities around our moon, Mars, and Jupiter. We built the first Vanguard in 18 months. The others took less time because we had already solved the engineering problems. The 4th one launches next month. Hayes added, And respectfully, counselors, you should hope we are not bluffing. Because if we are and you destroy the Vanguard, you will never know for sure if those other ships exist. You will spend every day wondering if a human fleet is going to arrive seeking revenge. Is that the future you want? The council chamber erupted in debate. Some counselors called for immediate action. Others urged caution. Arguments flew back and forth while Wright and his officers stood calmly in the center, waiting. Finally, Counselor Kren brought order. Enough. Captain Wright, the council will discuss this. You will return to your vessel and wait for our decision. We will contact you within one rotation of our planet. Wright saluted again. Thank you, counselors. Whatever you decide, I hope you will choose wisely. Humanity is ready to be a friend to the Zentari Empire, but we are also ready to stand alone if we must. As the humans left the chamber, Admiral Krell, who had been watching from the gallery, felt grudging respect. The human captain had played his hand perfectly. He had shown strength without arrogance, made threats without being hostile, and left the council with no easy options. The next day would determine the future of two civilizations. The council talked through the night and into the next day. Arguments raged, with Counselor Tresh leading those who demanded immediate military action while Counselor Kren urged patience and diplomacy. Admiral Krell had been called to give his military opinion. Admiral, Counselor Tresh demanded, can we destroy the human vessel before it can escape or call for help? Krell chose his words carefully. Counselors, yes, we could likely destroy the Vanguard. We have enough firepower in orbit. However, I must advise against this for several reasons. He turned on a holographic display. First, the human vessel has shown capabilities we do not fully understand. Their power generation, their hull armor, their sensors, all exceed our current technology. While our numbers would likely win, the cost would be high. We could lose dozens of ships in the fight. An acceptable cost to eliminate a threat, Tresh argued. Perhaps. But here is the second issue. We do not know if Captain Wright was bluffing about additional ships. Our deep space sensors have detected no other human vessels, but their stealth capabilities may exceed our detection range. If there are more ships and we destroy the Vanguard, we will have started a war with an enemy we know very little about. Krell brought up another display, showing Earth's location. Third, even if we destroy all their current ships, we cannot attack Earth itself. It is too far from our territory. We would need to mount a massive expedition, and by the time we arrived, they could have built more vessels. We could be walking into a trap. Then what do you suggest, Admiral? Counselor Kren asked. I suggest we accept their offer of alliance. Let them prove themselves. Watch their activities. Establish trade and cultural exchange and learn their weaknesses while showing them ours. If they prove dishonest, we can act then from a position of knowledge. But if they prove trustworthy, we gain a valuable ally with impressive technological capabilities. The debate continued, but slowly the tide turned in favor of diplomacy. The deciding factor came from Counselor Vren, the Empire's chief scientist, who had been quietly analyzing the data from the Vanguard. Counselors, she said, I have reviewed the technical specifications of the human vessel. Their zero-point energy system represents a breakthrough we have sought for thousands of years. If we can establish scientific cooperation with humans, they might share this technology. That alone would be worth more than any military victory. You want to trust them with our scientific secrets? Tresh protested. No, Vren replied. I want to exchange knowledge. They have things we want. We have things they want. That is the basis for a lasting partnership. After 16 hours of discussion, the vote was finally called. 9 counselors voted for diplomatic recognition and alliance. 3 voted for military action. The decision was made. Captain Wright was called back to the council chamber. This time, when he entered, the atmosphere was different. Less hostile, more curious. Wright stood at attention, his officers beside him waiting. Counselor Kren spoke. Captain Wright, the Imperial Council has reached a decision. After careful consideration, we have voted to extend diplomatic recognition to Earth and humanity. We welcome you as members of the galactic community. Wright's relief was visible, though he kept his military composure. Thank you, Counselor. Earth is honored and grateful. However, Kren continued, this recognition comes with conditions. First, Earth must agree to the Galactic Accords which govern warfare, colonization, and trade. Second, you must establish a permanent embassy here on Zentar Prime. Third, you must submit to regular inspections of your military capabilities by a neutral third party. These are not negotiable. Wright nodded. The first two conditions are acceptable. The third we need to discuss. We are willing to be transparent about our defensive capabilities, but we will not allow inspections that could compromise our security. We propose a compromise. We will provide detailed technical specifications of our vessels and weapon systems, and we will host observers during military exercises. But we will not permit unrestricted access to our shipyards or research facilities. Tresh began to object, but Kren held up a hand. That seems reasonable. We will agree to those terms. The formal treaty took 3 more days to negotiate. Wright proved to be a skilled diplomat, yielding on minor points while holding firm on issues of Earth's independence and security. In the end, both sides were satisfied. The signing ceremony was broadcast across the Zentari Empire and sent to Earth. Captain Wright stood beside Counselor Kren, both leaders signing the Treaty of Zentar Prime that formally established diplomatic and trade relations between their civilizations. This is a historic moment, Kren said for the cameras. Today we welcome a new species to the galactic community. We look forward to a long and successful relationship with humanity. Wright smiled. Earth is proud to stand alongside the Zentari Empire. We have much to learn from you, and we hope we have something to offer in return. Together we can build a better future for all our people. After the ceremony, Wright and Krell shared a private moment on the observation deck of the Eternal Dominion. You played us well, Captain, the Admiral said without anger. The threat of additional ships, the demonstration of technological superiority, the carefully calculated shows of respect and defiance. It was masterfully done, Wright grinned. Admiral, I am going to tell you a secret. The other 3 ships, they exist.
They are real.
And they have been monitoring the situation from the edge of your sensor range for the past week. Krell felt his blood run cold. You brought backup. Of course I did. I was not going to fly into potentially hostile territory alone. The Vanguard came in openly to see your reaction. The Guardian, Defiant, and Valiant stayed hidden to provide support if needed. If you had attacked, you would have faced all 4 of us. And if we had destroyed all 4? Wright's expression grew serious. Then you would have learned that humans do not take kindly to unprovoked attacks. The 5th ship, the Retribution, would have survived to tell Earth what happened. And trust me, Admiral, you do not want to meet the fleet we would have sent in response. 5 ships, Krell said quietly. You have 5 vessels of this capability. 6, actually. The Redemption launched last week, and there are 4 more under construction. Wright looked out at the stars. Admiral, I am not telling you this to threaten you. I am telling you because we are allies now, and allies should be honest with each other. Humanity is here to stay. We are growing fast. In 10 years, we will have 20 ships like the Vanguard. In 50 years, 100. We can be your strongest ally or your worst nightmare. The choice was always yours. Krell thought about the implications. Humans with their death world evolution and their technological innovation, expanding into the galaxy. It was terrifying, and also perhaps exactly what the galaxy needed. You know, the Admiral said, our empire has grown lazy. We have had no real challenges for centuries. Our warriors have forgotten what it means to face a true threat. Perhaps having you humans around will remind us to stay sharp. Wright laughed. I will take that as a compliment. And who knows? Maybe we will learn some caution from you. God knows we could use it. They stood together, human and Zentari, looking out at the stars that now belonged to both their species. Behind them, their civilizations were beginning the long process of integration, trade negotiations, cultural exchanges, scientific collaboration, and military cooperation. The galaxy had changed. The humans had arrived, and nothing would ever be the same. 6 months later, the UES Vanguard returned to Earth to a hero's welcome. Captain Danny Wright was promoted to Admiral and given command of the newly formed Human Expeditionary Fleet. Commander Lisa Hayes became the first human ambassador to the Zentari Empire. Lieutenant Kevin Shaw joined a joint human-Zentari research project on advanced propulsion systems. And in shipyards around Earth, the Moon, and Mars, dozens of new vessels were taking shape. Some were warships like the Vanguard. Others were colony ships, science vessels, and merchant carriers. Humanity was reaching out to the stars with both hands, one extended in friendship, the other ready to defend if necessary. The Zentari Empire watched this expansion with mixed feelings. Some, like Counselor Tresh, remained convinced that humans would eventually become a threat. Others, like Counselor Kren, believed that the partnership would strengthen both civilizations. Admiral Krell took a philosophical view. In his personal log, he wrote, "The humans have a saying, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. We do not yet know which category humanity will ultimately fall into, but by bringing them into the galactic community, we ensure that we will know immediately if they become hostile. And perhaps if we are fortunate, we will discover that Deathworld species make the best allies. After all, when survival is in question, you want the toughest fighters on your side." The log entry was dated 6 months after first contact. It would be read by historians for centuries to come as a marker of the moment when the galaxy's balance of power shifted forever. Humanity had arrived. The galaxy would never be the same. And somewhere in the depths of space, other ancient civilizations were beginning to hear the news and ask themselves the same question the Zentari had asked. That cannot be a human warship. Is it possible? The answer, as the galaxy would learn, was not only possible but